Okay, here's the thing. This is going to sound crazy, but you guys need to hear this. Motivation and willpower is destroying your life. I can't say how many people I tell this to. In the beginning, they're like, wait, what? Motivation, this thing I've been told my whole life is a good thing, right? Is ruining my life? What? That can't be true, Jared. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm going to tell you, it is. I know that it is. And let me tell you how I know motivation is ruining your life. Because you're relying on it, and there's some symptoms. And I know you're all having these symptoms. I know you're having them. You think I'm crazy, but I know you're having these symptoms. Let me tell you what those symptoms are. You're tired. Most of the time, you're tired. You're going out there and you're trying to get motivated and you're trying to wake up for the next day and get going and get to work or whatever you got to do and take care of the kids and whatever, and you're tired. And the way I know that you're relying on motivation and willpower is the fact that you're tired. Number two, you're frustrated. A lot of the day, a lot of the time, you're frustrated. You're feeling frustrated that your life's not getting better. You're feeling frustrated that you don't have what you want. You're feeling you know in your heart there's so much more to this life. There's so much more that can be. You know this in your heart, and you're frustrated. It's because you're relying on motivation and willpower. Number three, you're not getting results. When you rely on motivation and willpower, you don't get results. You're still overweight, you don't have the relationship you want, you don't have the job you want, all of these things are symptoms of motivation and willpower. Motivation and willpower is like the key buzzword around it. You go to a place and you get motivated and whatever. And through this motivation and willpower, you're going to get stuff done. I want to tell you guys, I'm not motivated. I don't do willpower. I don't focus my energies around willpower and motivation. Why? Because when I was young, I learned that didn't work. It was a waste of time. The hard part is that's not well taught. It's not well taught that motivation and willpower is a waste of time. So everybody continues doing it. And every time that somebody goes and gets a result, hey, what'd you do? How'd you get this result? They're going to tell you motivation and willpower. They don't understand that that's really not what it was. There were probably many factors that dealt with them getting this new result or losing weight or getting a new job or whatever it is. But it wasn't motivation and willpower. I can promise you that. So as people go through my classes, they're going to start to learn how to do things without being motivated and without having willpower. And really what that's going to stem from is first going to stem from, as you start to learn more about yourself, you're going to start to learn how to operate without using stress, worry, and fear. And as stress, worry, and fear start to subside in your life, your motivation is going to go down. It's a weird feeling and it's a weird thing to go through. But as you stop being motivated by, and you can call motivation whatever you want. Like you can go with positive motivation, but positive motivation only lasts so long. And so as you start to not be motivated positively, and you stop being motivated by stress, worry, and fear, you're thinking to yourself, well, why even get out of bed? How am I going to get out of bed if I'm not worried about my kids? How am I going to get out of bed if I'm not worried about bills? What would motivate me then? What would motivate me? I've been relying on stress, worry, and fear for so long. What would motivate me? The coolest thing that can happen to a person is when they move through stress, worry, and fear, and they come out on the other side and they start to understand who they are. Not on a level of like, I like these things and dislike things, but really who they are. And more specifically, when you start to realize where everybody's the same, you're going to start to realize where you're different. Because as you go through personalities and the videos and the things that we do, you're going to start to see where you're exactly the same. And you're going to be very resistant to that. You're going to find times where you're like, wait, everybody's exactly the same to a personality type? And that's true most of the case. If you're totally doing your life subconsciously, then yeah, you're just like everybody else. The only way you're not like everybody else is if you start living consciously. And once you start living consciously, you're going to stop being afraid of stress, worry, and fear. And when you come through that, you're going to hit a moment where you're not motivated, and you're going to start to understand who you are as a person. And as you start to realize who you are as a person at your deepest level, who you really are, what you really like, what you really dislike, you don't have to worry about motivation and willpower anymore. All you have to worry, honestly, you don't have to worry at all. That's one of the best parts about it. And you're going to start to see who you are. And just Who you are will be motivation enough. So again, you can say, hey Jared, because that you believe in motivation. It's a totally different feeling. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark as being motivated by motivation and willpower. When you start to know who you are at a real high level, everything's going to get easier. Everything's going to get funner. Your relationships are going to be better. Your business is going to be better. You're not going to feel fearful. Everything you do will be better. Your lifestyle will be better. Your goals will be bigger. Your goals will be more, they'll actually look achievable because now you'll know what you're dealing with. Now, again, for this video, if you're still dealing with motivation and willpower, honestly, you don't have a choice but to go through our program. That one thing alone, you've got to get that handled. I can't tell you how many people I've trained and worked with, and they're doing this their whole lives until they're so tired they can't see straight, until they're so frustrated they can't see straight. And you can keep putting that day off. You can keep, I'll just keep doing my thing and keep moving forward and doing whatever I'm doing and relying on motivation and whatever you're relying on to get out of bed or to somewhat be engaged or whatever. But at the end of the day, even if you don't go through the class, get rid of your motivation and willpower and figure out who you really are.